Evelyn, how's it?
Great.
Uko salama?
Kabisa.
Karibu kwenye show. We have a new guest today. We have a lady who has decided to join us and chase this testosterone of ours.
And educate us.
Educate us.
And while balancing.
On our topic today.
While balancing.
Balance.
They say what a man can do, a woman can do better. So if we can talk about men's issues.
She can talk about them better. She knows because she's ready to. Man. How is that, man?
Because I'm on the outside, looking in, so I'm seeing everything. I'm able to pick out everything.
Right. Washakuja wamekuja siku moja wakasema, hey, hi, I saw someone.
Hizo wasemangi siku hizi.
Akwambi?
No,
before?
you just see people.
Oh, they just appear in the house.
Yeah, people just being around.
They just show up and you're like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. No, but that's just my friend.
That's it.
This people have quite a number of friends.
This friend of yours is always coming around.
No, it's always a shift. It's like a change.
There's always a change.
Last week there was another friend.
See, they socialize. They don't specialize.
They're not specializing.
Socialize.
That is one thing
That's what we were told.
Yeah. Don't specialize.
Which I agreed with. I think it made a lot of sense to me then.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. And it actually helped because
I felt like it also
got friends out of all this processing.
Yeah, but it also made some people take advantages in the sense that people were socializing as they specialize, or socializing without actually showing where it's going, or because then when someone gets angry, you're like, hey, but we're just socializing. Why are you catching a feeling? Then now it becomes like we become the bad guys because we were socializing without specializing. But we were falsely socializing. Yeah,
but is this good to be clear on what you're doing?
But what is clarity? What do you expect clarity to be? Do you expect me to tell you on the third date that we're exclusive or we're going somewhere?
No, clarity in this case. No, clarity in this case is you knowing where your feelings are. Because as you socialize, definitely there's a touch somewhere. Yeah. You will know if there's a touch. So when there's a touch, then how do you deal with the touch? Do you just assume that, because you're still socializing anyway, let's just push these feelings to the back of our minds and continue socializing? Or do you start to zero in and to focus and to ask, is there something, could it go?
What are we working
somewhere
towards? Yeah.
Could it go somewhere?
There's that thing where guys normally say, guys know by either the third date or the 15th second or something of that sort. Do ladies know when something is going somewhere? Ama ladies just normally chill and wait and decide wacha niambiwe?
I think that one is neither here nor there. It depends on the person you're dealing with.
Haina formula.
Right. Haina formula.
Yeah, we can't really say. But anyway, let's getting into the episode now.
Yes.
Evelyn, please tell us something about yourself. We've already let out your name.
Yes.
So we have stolen one part of your introduction. But please just tell us about yourself. And then we'll get into why you're here today.
Great. So my name is Evelyn.
Oh, so it's not Evelyn.
Yeah, it's not Evelyn. I always introduce myself as Evelyn.
This whole
but then
time.
the person repeats the name and says Evelyn.
We're conditioned.
So I'm wondering if it's that they didn't hear what I said.
I think we're
or I don't know my name.
We're conditioned.
It's Evelyn. Evelyn.
Yes.
The R is silent.
Okay.
Evelyn.
Okay.
Appeal.
Right.
Yeah, you can guess that's why the Evelyn is a bit complicated because of the second.
Okay.
But it's all good. It's all good. I have different professions, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm a trained graphic designer. First things first.
Yes.
And been practicing graphic designer for the last 20-something years.
Where?
Yeah, but along the way, I realized I also roll well in writing. Yes, so I'm in publishing now. I do lots of editing, helping people to write.
Yeah,
to bring out books. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, like helping people to bring out books.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people have books on the inside, and we need them out here so that other people.
Oh, so like you go to Richie and tell them,
Yes.
like, I feel like
What's
this,
your
like,
story?
what's your story?
How do we
I'm a
publish what content you have?
Right.
Or what you
I'm
want
a
to
someone
tell
has a
us?
story, then you help them.
Not
bring it
quite, because Richie would know if he has a story.
out. Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal his story.
Okay.
You know, like
Okay.
showing him that he really has a story, and
Right.
maybe it's I'm the only one
Yes,
seeing
yes,
it,
yes,
and he hasn't seen the story. But there's those instances where someone knows I have this story that I need the world to hear, or I have this information
Right.
that I would like to share with the world. And most people are not, gifted could be the word, quote unquote,
Yeah.
in actually putting that story in a readable format.
Right.
Where someone picks, we talk about the bestsellers.
Yeah.
It's because the book catches you.
Yes.
So when you pick the book and you start to read, you're like, wow. So you read the whole thing. We don't want those books where you read the first chapter and you're like, yeah, to the back of the shelf.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I try to do to ensure that the right book
Okay.
is out here.
So if you have a story and you feel like you want that story to be read by the world, Evelyn is here. We're going to put her contacts and whatever, even for graphic design, to take up a chin.
It's
Hey, Mono just
did
takes there, logo ya show
you
us.
did you say Evelyn
Sorry.
again?
Hey, hey. Evelyn. Evelyn is her designer, and she's now publishing and helping publish books. But anyway,
Great.
identity.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those topics that can be very hard to discuss, but at the same time very important for it to be discussed. Do you guys, is there like what pops up when you guys think about identity?
National ID card. Huduma number.
Tusiende huduma namba.
For those of you who are swindled and lied to by your government,
Did you take it?
I can't.
You didn't?
I know my government.
Aye.
Guys, I keep telling you guys, we know this government.
Yani,
Did you have some faith? Have some
Imagine,
faith.
I have faith, but on very practical,
realistic,
especially when it comes to this government. So I didn't, but I felt like it was a duplication of processes, so which were already functioning. But again, with all the scandals we usually have, but that's a story for another day. I don't want to get into our country, blah blah blah. For purposes of today's show, identity for me is just the basics of who you are, and then what sets you apart.
Right.
Yeah. What can I look at and say, I identify with this and that, or this is what makes me who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this is what
the
makes
character.
me stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In a sense.
In a way.
In a sense. Yeah.
Okay.
But in the light of that, yeah, I would also just add about belonging. What
Right.
is
Like
this
where-
thing
Ah,
that causes
okay.
you to belong?
Yes.
Yeah, and that identifies you, because identity goes hand in hand with I belong to something, someone, someplace.
I belong to someone.
Yeah, we just
The
know whether
church.
the person, that someone is your identity.
By the way,
It's true.
do you know there's some people without their persons,
They're nothing.
it's like
not there.
their whole essence and the identity of who they are is
Ceases
because they're
to-
someone's something.
Yeah.
You
My
know.
person. That's
Yeah.
why it changes to become my person.
And I really don't like that thing. Like
It's-
outside of your partner, outside of your friends,
Yeah.
outside of your clique,
Yeah.
outside of your school. I mean,
Well.
like, let me tell you guys, I usually find it very weird how people are so attached to the schools they went to that they have to identify
But
with
isn't
that
that the
school.
isn't that the same as football? And you're one of them.
I am not walking around telling people my name is Richard and I'm a Manchester United fan.
But have you seen
It's
the
a tough
people are
season for
normally-
us. I don't have that pride.
You don't have that.
In fact, all
But
my
have you seen?
sports
But have you
teams-
seen the way
No
sports
pride.
makes people? The way people identify with
Yeah,
sports, they
I'm
can
a
actually
red.
fight. Wase wetu maze waliangusha tulienda relegation.
Tulipigwa,
Maze, you're looking.
tuli-
Wait a minute. Do they pay your rent? Do they even know you exist?
Yeah, speaking of, yeah, that's something that
You know, like
a lot of men, even ladies though.
no, there are ladies who even when
The
they get into
sports
sports,
fans,
yeah,
they-
sports
they
fans, they
embrace-
become so so attached to it.
Yes.
Like it becomes like a fight. I saw two guys, what's it called, talking about football, and I took a backseat to just listen to
Yeah.
how they are talking, and you could just hear that ownership of wase wetu, unajua tulitinga bao ule mse wetu ule mse
And
alidui
some
nini.
people genuinely will dislike you from the get-go because of the team you support. If it's opposite, if it's a rival, they'll just be like, I don't hang out with United fans. I don't hang out with Scousers. Right. Those are the terms that people use like for deep-seated rivalries. But, I mean, it's an identity thing, and it's a reality.
It's a reality, and that's why we have to get the right place of identity.
Yeah.
What is
Because
the
then
right
our
place of
identity cannot be in things, cannot be outside of us. So we
It
must
has to be within.
get an identity from within. That which sets us apart from within. The
What
me,
sets you apart?
the me from within. Who am I as Evelyn?
Yeah.
It's not the things I do.
Okay.
It is not the books I publish.
Okay.
It is not the designs
It's not the design.
I make. That's why when you come out here and you ask someone to introduce themselves, they actually tell you about what they do.
Yeah. They
Right.
never
Yeah?
tell you who
So
they
they identify
are.
themselves with things
Yes.
and the doings and the acquisitions.
Maybe we should do a class. If Evelyn, kabla nimestena, Evelyn, who are you?
I am a child of God. For me, that's where it starts.
The history of Pentecostal.
There you
This
go.
has got nothing to do
That
with
is the
Pentecostal.
most Pentecostal line ever.
It
Okay,
has
in
got
fact,
nothing
I'm
to do
surprised
with
they
that.
say I am a winner.
I can do all
I am a
things
chosen
through
generation.
Christ.
I am.
A city set upon a hill.
I am.
I'm demon chasing, fire spitting. Right.
Yeah. No, really, because when we look at ourselves as the way we are created,
Yeah.
we are created to look like someone else,
Right.
not the physical part.
Yeah.
The who we are on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are created in the image of God.
Right.
And for me, that's where it all begins. We are created in the image of God. So my identity has to come
Right.
from that place of who made me to be like Him.
Right.
In my emotions, in the intricacies
Right.
of who I identify
Yeah.
with. So I have to come to that place where I know that without the trappings, I'm still me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still me
Okay.
without the things. But then how will I identify me without the things except that I know there is something on the inside that makes me complete.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the M-Pesa number for this offering for this week is 0720. Shikilia screen, omba. Sema nini. But anyway,
Identity. So, in this talking about identity, and especially the fact that we always seem to have society really scrutinizing men about their identity, or we are losing our identity as men. We are not. Society is not churning out men like they used to. Yeah. Is it that we have lost the plot when it comes to what men are or what society expects them to be?
So are we saying
or
that there
what
was a
they
time
used to be?
Was there a time that society was churning out proper men?
That's the question. Has it changed? What is the difference now? Because we hear a lot of men nowadays, men this, men that.
The famous
They're
one.
not,
Men are dogs.
Hey, you'll tell even your father. You came from a father.
There's another one that's normally worse than that.
You shouldn't be
Even
telling
your
us
father.
that.
There's one that was because they're like men are dogs, and what do dogs look for? But anyway, that's a story for another day. Anyway,
And that story we will not look into it now at all.
we won't look into
With
it.
me here.
Anyway.
Anyway.
We're not going to
Yeah.
do that. But
Yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But you see, society has changed.
yeah, right.
Our environment is different. The way my father was raised is totally different from the way I'm raising my sons.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, the things that they have access to were not there in the times of my father.
Yeah.
So there were certain things he had to rely on to become whoever he needed to become.
Right.
There are certain things that you have had to rely on to become the person that you're becoming or the man that you are, that didn't have to appear anywhere in that whole environment of our forefathers growing up. So to expect you to behave exactly the same way they behaved, I think it's not proper.
We've been delivered.
Not yet.
Too soon.
Not yet.
Aye.
It is not proper.
VAR just called off that goal. You thought you had scored.
Offside. Okay.
Yeah. But there are definitely certain parameters that we must operate within, right? There are certain parameters. You need to identify what kinds of, for example, responsibilities, that you need to carry as a man. And those are basic. Yeah. If you are a father, there are basic, responsibilities for you as a father to your child or your children. For you as a husband, what are the responsibilities that you need, to carry as a husband to this wife? Yeah. Those ones, I think, are clear. They don't change, You need to identify what they are. I'm not here to, to tell you.
You're not here to tell us.
Lesson number 1.
Yes.
But really, clear responsibilities of being a good husband, a good father, a good son, a good friend. I think those things don't change. Okay. But to expect that there are certain ways of living that must be, drawn back into the, our forefathers' time, I think is fallacical. We need to examine ourselves in totality of our environments, because the environment changes us. Yeah. And the environment contributes to the people that we become. Yeah. Other than character, parents, our environment has a lot to do. I will not talk about the piercings, but you see the environment.
The environment has changed. The environment for him changed.
So you guys, piercings in ancient times. History will teach you that these were very well-known ornaments.
Justification.
But,
so you're saying we have gone back? Right into the
appreciating where we came from.
Where you came from. Okay. Kidogo kama pana change ma bling nini. Ama uvaya hapa what is sisal skirt.
Wait, bana. That's some bombers of Kenya.
So okay. So is it okay if your sons came and told you, your mom, like Richie, natoboa masikio. Things have changed.
To be honest, I didn't consult. Let me just disclaim. I did not consult. I just did it.
But you see, age.
Because she's raising her sons, and it would be more practical to hear from her what that type of experience would be like. And if you think, okay, is this guy going through an identity crisis? What is going on? Why? Because I can picture that conversation with my dad if I was to consult. Bruv.
That's why you did not.
That's why I did not.
I actually had that conversation with my mom once.
Confines of my own house.
Yeah, when you're
after I've grown up and
before they tell you when you're in my roof, you do what I say.
Yeah.
You go with my rules. You come by 5 p.m. But I had that conversation with my mom once, and I was like, "Mom, hey, I feel like I can't toboa." She was like, "Joni, I would rather you color your hair, but ustoboe masikio."
What is so wrong about piercing? Yes.
I don't know,
But anyway.
but we are here to find out. If your sons or your son, one of them came and said, "Hey, mom, nimeona nikitoboa masikio itaweza." First of all, amekuja na hiyo shame. Itaweza.
Yeah, it's a...
This is one for...
I think we've gotten our answer. You know how your face does not lie.
Yeah. No,
It needs to be delivered.
That's a place where I know you really start to question your parenting.
Your parenting.
Yeah,
Right.
so is it because there's something I'm not doing right? You don't want to look like a boy and you're a boy, because that's how we are socialized.
Yeah.
It's all about socialization, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing inherently wrong with a man piercing his ears. I don't know about the nose and...
Well, Tupac.
Well,
I don't know, but whatever piercings they are, there's nothing inherently wrong.
right.
But not because of socialization. we tend to think men are supposed to be just plain, so that we identify them away from their sisters.
Oh,
That is socialization. Hata wasipake mafuta. You know?
By the speaking of like the aspect of paka mafuta, like I watched. Shout out to Dapper Brother if you're watching this. I watched his face routine.
Right. And you're like,
The most funny thing was that even ladies in the comment section were like, we are ladies and we don't even go through that much to ensure that our faces are well taken care of. So it got me wondering, who said that men are not supposed to take care of their skin?
right.
Or is it like the constraints of society that, men are supposed to be differentiated from women? And how do they do that? By not doing things that women
do.
By not taking care of their bodies as much as women do. The moment you start spending too much time taking care of your appearance as a man, people start thinking,
You're not.
what's happening?
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
Something is broken.
Yeah.
Nothing has broken, and that identity crisis can show up in many different ways. And piercings might not even be anywhere related to identity crisis. There's so many other things that people do,
Right.
to try and find
Shock
themselves.
you, yeah.
Because the crisis is really about not finding yourself and wanting to find yourself.
Yes.
So there are things, extremes that people go to. Maybe I am not at liberty to mention, but the extremes that people go to, because they are searching for that person. I remember talking to a young person who was saying, at a certain point in time, I lost myself, And right there, it already tells you this person is struggling with their identity. They're wondering, so now who am I now? I used to be that person that I knew I was, and then something happened. They went through, a phase or a situation that redefined their life. And so they're there and they're saying, I think I lost myself. Because they would like to be the person they were back then, before the processes that happened in their lives that caused them to sort of feel like, I am lost.
So it is okay then to say that there are different phases of our lives that allow us to identify differently. Like maybe your early teens, you identify this way. You get to your 20s, you can identify differently. You get to your 30s, you can identify differently. Because I'm trying to understand, when you say that there are changes that happen, that there are things that happen in your life, then each phase of your life then needs a different identity. Is that okay to say? Because then it would make sense why people are going through what they're going through, to understand who they are.
Probably not, because there's the solid foundation, quote unquote, that will help you through whatever changes that come in life. Then you should never really change who you are. Yeah? But if that is shaky, that foundation is shaky, that's why you will keep changing through the phases. Yeah? Because then they start to affect the person that you are negatively. Yeah, in the negative. But if that foundation, if that base is solid, it really doesn't matter what you go through. You already know who you are, and you'll hold to the person that you are, and you will go through those changes and still come out unscathed. Yeah. Okay. You remain who you are. Yeah. But the fact that that foundation is shaky, you're not really finding that base that you need as you're growing up, especially as you're coming into your teenage years, then it can really start to get messed up as you get older. Yeah, because then you really do not know who you are. So you're really trying to, look for a survival mechanism, what is referred to as grasping the straws, so to speak. Anything that comes, you're trying to see if it will help you to get to a place of, sanity, or,
knowing who you
that
are.
stability, of that becoming. That's how I would look at it. So the phases really should not change you if the foundation is right.
It's like how when we first experienced COVID, you remember there was this running joke about how men were confused because one, with the curfew, the first curfew, which was at 7, many men were not used to getting home early. Like,
No, yeah.
it is just well known that a man should just not be in the house early.
Or
What are you
just
doing
not
in
be-
the house?
yeah.
You're helping with the kids, or it didn't appear to be a Monday thing. So there was that joke. And then also the bar, when the bars were closed, where else do we hang out as men? Where do we go?
Yeah.
You know?
You can't hang out in chat rooms.
Can you imagine? It had become such a serious part of society that men's identities are attached to either they are at the car wash.
Yeah.
There's this joke we have with my cousins where a man tells you, oh, baby, I'm going to the car wash at 8. The guy comes back at midnight.
Unaenda kuosha gari na kam.
That's the only question you're supposed to ask.
Yeah.
Hey, leo umeosha gari sana.
You're
You're not supposed to question where he is. Yeah. So that aspect of people being identified by certain things, especially men in society, I think it feels like we really need a serious paradigm shift and also introspection, because what makes you stand out to other people? What, like Jesus said, who do people say I am?
Kusha.
You know? If we were to ask ourselves right now, who do people say you are? Who do people say I am? What is it about you as a man that other people are saying? What makes you a man? You know?
Yeah, there's a time, what's it called? Guys, like I think I said this on the last episode, guys just knew me as a bully or like a guy who's like terrifying to be next to. Guys never used to like if they were to tell Joni, the first word out of the mouth was scared, bully, and afraid. That would be the number one thing. Now I think I should go back again and go like, so what do you people think? Or what do you people say I am? You know, like, and that phase, of course, again, and I think this will be said a lot in our episodes, is there's a genesis to everything. You know, there's a genesis to everything that we go through. And for me, it was just one of those that I didn't feel like I wanted to feel like I'm weak. I didn't want to feel like I'm, like I'm a bother to people. Because it felt, okay, in my perspective, it felt like if I'm always in your case or always trying to find help or whatever, I felt like a weakling. I didn't feel like I was going to be, you know, I needed to stand on my own. I needed to be, when people come to me, I needed to be a whole person. But uko ndani, you're just like a, you know, like a teddy bear. No one, you can be chapward, you know, like, but you have to show that face that if someone was to come to you, by the way, I don't know what he's going to do to me, but anakaneza niumiza. So wacha niachane naye. So like there was that persona that I used to bring out. How I identified with that, I don't know. I don't know how it came to be, but I feel like it was a lot of pressures, especially with society. I remember there's a time I denied my dad. Hey. So my dad used to have, and this is popular. This is because of identity. It's messed up, I know. But I denied my dad. My dad used to have a Beetle.
Yeah.
The VWs. It was blue. My uncle, on the other hand, had a Toyota Levine. The lights used to go like this.
Yes.
Hey! So one day, we were chilling with the boys in the estate. The guys used to chill.
Chilling with the big boys.
Yeah. So I think that week, my uncle had come home and he was chilling because he had a meeting next to where we were staying at that time. And he came with the Toyota Levine, and I took the keys and I put on the lights, and guys were like, "Where?" You know, so I was like, "Yeah, man, that's how we roll. That's how we roll. You want to chill with the big boys." So after that week passed, so I was asked, "Hey, so is your dad the guy with the Beetle?" I was like, "Z, my dad is on the Toyota Levine." And they're like, "Allah, so why are you staying with your uncle then?" I was like, "No, my dad stays in Donholm because that's where my uncle used to stay.
Yeah.
And it's far, and I go to Nairobi Primary, and since where we're staying is close to Nairobi Primary, that's why I'm staying with my uncle."
So much effort.
I had gone through it to, you know, yani, when I look back, I'm just like, wait. hata mimi nilijaribu. But again, you can see the kind of pressures that people normally go through.
Yeah.
And it's just that fact that, because, and I'm not saying that because these guys were well off. It wasn't even that. I don't know how it came to the fact that I was like, Dr. Levine looked like it had more class than a Beetle. And it felt like if I was to say my dad was a Beetle, then they would start enjoying us and starting talking bad about the Beetle and stuff like that. And I was just like, no, I can't be that side.
That sounds like Joni. Which Joni? The guy with the Mark X. It sounds like
yeah, it's identity, yeah.
True.
Because Richie, the guy with the beard.
Yeah,
because it has to be like that. It does,
yeah.
Evelyn, no, the one who appeared in the show.
Bas.
It has. That's how guys. The one with the iPhone, the one with the nice car.
Labels.
It's a label that we're putting nowadays, which.
Maybe, yeah, it's a tough thing, but I'd like to hear it from your perspective as a mom, raising boys. How do you safeguard them from now that sort of identity? Is it a crisis? I don't even know what to label it, talking of labels. But how do you safeguard your kids such that as you are raising them to be, the men who are going to be the ones who set the standards, the ones who have a solid foundation, the ones who are at least going to be influential with regards to helping other men in society know that they have a grounding or a footing? How do you help them? How do you safeguard them? How do you go about it? I mean, we don't expect like a manual because
There's
it's
no
a process.
manual.
Yeah.
There's no manual.
Yeah.
I think what you're looking for is identity preference.
Uh-huh.
Because it's really just a preference.
Yeah.
You're identifying with what you think is the better thing.
Yeah.
The more comfortable thing.
Yeah.
So it's just the identity preference.
Yeah.
So now in terms of raising young men, because my sons are almost 20, almost 18, so they have been through, that stage. They're still really coming through teenage, and teenage can be volatile. Yes. That's when you look at what the neighbor has and what you have, and you're wondering, maybe we should be staying with the neighbor.
I don't know why we're here.
Maybe I should be hanging out with uncle. In your case, maybe uncle should be dad. Yeah. So for me, really, it's about giving them a comfortable space for self-expression. Yeah. That they're able to go through their disappointments and make their mistakes and allow them to learn how to correct them. Right. Because when someone knows that I am given space to be who I am, then they can be the best I am. They can be the best I am.
Sometimes that normally is scary for other people because there are people who, when they hear you say that, like, I let my children just be. It's
not just letting them be.
Right.
It is enabling them to be comfortable enough to express themselves. Right. You see, most people, because of fear of what the parent will say, how the parent will act, that's why they will go out and tell you they're in one place when they're actually in a totally different place. I'm hanging out with so-and-so because so-and-so is a good person. Yeah? So they tell you they're with so-and-so, but in reality, they're in that other place that you would not have approved of in the first place. Yes. But if they know, even if they told you that with that person whom you do not approve, but you're not going to be judgmental. Not that you're not going to judge them, you will judge them.
Of course. Eventually.
You will judge them. But you're not going to be judgmental, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Telling them, no, you see, now you are not allowed. How can you even? What do you find interesting about that? But that's a loser, and those kinds of words. Yeah. Then they learn to shut down, Yeah. It's interesting. I'm going to use this as an example. It's a wrong one, but I'm going to use it anyway.
I don't know what you're supposed to say.
Okay, disclaimer. The views expressed on this show.
This because today
we by Evelyn
are hers.
Okay.
They're not a representation of.
No, we're in a certain forum. And so we're just talking about some things about our children.
Yeah.
Like now that I have older children, what are some of the things that I remember that were very funny, hilarious, that they said to me when they were growing up? Yeah. And there are actually people in the team who said, my children don't tell me anything. So that already for me, it's a red flag. Yeah. I mean, if your children are not talking to you, it's because they have shut down on you, they have built walls. Yes. But how did that happen? It's because you did not allow them space to make mistakes, to express themselves, to go and try out those things that we think they should not try out.
Yeah.
Which of these things
They should not
be trying out?
You know? Yeah, because I ask them. I ask my children. I can be judged by my, circle. No, but I definitely ask my children, have you ever had a drink? Have you tasted alcohol? Yes. And then they will tell me, whatever it is, have you tried weed? Yeah. Because, we are in such an open society, they interact with these things on a daily basis. And if I'm going to close my eyes and assume mine are so Christian, I'm telling you, they're Holy Ghost filled and they're demon chasing. They cannot. Nimejifunga macho, the children are getting lost, and I'm here saying, no, mine are perfect.
Later on, society now starts saying, oh, our men don't talk, our men don't open up, our men.
They're not opening up because
we've shut them out.
You really have caused them to shut down on you.
Yeah.
Then they're not able to express themselves.
So it clearly isn't something that we can say that is happening now. It's something that has already happened from before. Yeah. So the shutting down already happened. It's just that now it's manifesting and becoming more clearer that men are not talking, and it's because of the fact that what you're saying.
Yeah, and then we're also assuming, that if I'm not being listened to now, I'll not be listened to ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because my parents are not listening to me, then other people out there, my employer will not listen to me, my clients will not listen to me, my suppliers will not listen to me. So you only share what is relevant for that period or season. And so there are so many things that you're then bottling on the inside, So that's when now you're wondering, so who am I? If I'm not even able to express myself, then how am I even able to know who I am? Because it's through talking that you actually discover who you are. Mm-hmm. As you talk a lot to people about different kinds of things, and people get to hear your different perspectives, then you start to discover, so this is how I look at things, then it must be because this is the kind of person that I am. But when that does not happen, and we are all closed up, and we know, you've just said the other way, men are not talking. Yeah. But they're not talking because you're not listening to them.
All right.
Allowing them to talk.
It's a tough one. It's good to hear it from that type of perspective because it helps us also, introspectively check and identify some of the things that, we thought we knew, or some of the reasons why we behave the way we do, or some of the things that have, shaped our identities. And I think going forward, I'd like to try and have such a mindset where I don't just box myself because of what I feel is the way, or what I feel has been the experience or the norm, so that my identity is not just a structured type of thing based on what I've gone through, because I am actually learning that maybe I behave the way I do, or maybe I identify, or I prefer to identify with certain things or in a certain way because of something that has influenced my upbringing, but I have never confronted it. I've never sat down and thought, why is it that I am who I am? Why is it that I behave the way I behave, or I talk the way I talk, or I go about my business the way I do? And I think that's something.
But a lot of guys
that has helped.
I don't know. Okay, for us it might be easy, but I'm just thinking of people who are already in that space who are not talking. Right now we're here, we're talking, we're saying these things, but there are some people who, whether you like it or not, they're not going to do that. Could there be a way for them to release or to try and start becoming talkative? Because again, if you find such people, then those people are the ones who are always secluding themselves, loners, not talking to people. Their work is, I'm going to work, I come back home. If I'm going to church, I go to church, I come back home. If I'm going for parties is very hard, for those kind of people, because being such a
socializing,
and now again, people start identifying as introverts. or
Yet they have
extroverts.
nothing to do with
Nothing to do with
introvertedness.
introvertedness. You know,
But then people should redo personality tests.
they should.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you're saying something.
I was just going to mention that that's the reason we need mentors. And mentorship comes into play at that point. Because then you're able to identify someone who is going through a phase like that. And you're okay, yeah? You, as a man who is okay, you need to start to identify those people who are not okay, because they're all around us. And deliberately reach out and start to help them.
Thank you very
to
much.
come out of.
I love it.
Deliberately reach out.
Exactly. Because I've always, and for a very long time, had a problem with mentorship and how mentorship works. Because it's always, if you want a mentor, go look for a mentor, right? And start following them because you want to be like them.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
So there's never a mentor who's always looking down. It's always look for a mentor, let it be that way. Let it be you're the one who's looking for them. You're the one who's
And sometimes
always
it's even
looking for them.
unreachable people who you can't have a personal relationship with.
And because they're always busy, because they're running big companies or they're running large farms or whatever, they can never have time for someone who's...
I think that's the identity thing again. You're chasing that identity because that's what you feel is respectable. That is what you're working towards. So you're feeling, if I can get to that level of being as successful as they are, running my own company, running businesses, being someone who society looks up to, you think that is the it for you. So you're chasing something that other person might also be feeling, I need to restructure my life in this way. I need to do better in this aspect. And then it becomes an unattainable goal. It becomes a cycle. You become someone else's mentor.
But I like that. I like that about, you know, if you're someone who's seeing this, then be that person to look for this person and try and get them out of that. Because, and I think that's where the other challenge is, because of that kind of mentorship, people normally are afraid of even trying to speak to this person because they're like, but will that guy even have time for me? Do I even have time to be sitting with that kind of person in the first place? You know, yes, they want to attain or get to that space, but they can't get there because they're like, even talking to that person feels like it's too much work. You know, like forget it. And I wish that could start happening even now, that people could start, mentorship should be now top down, not bottom up. It should start going down. You know, like I can see and it's easy for people up here to identify what's going on down there, you know, and reach out to these people and, okay, come, let's sit down, let's talk, let's have more open forums. And I think that's why this show also exists, because I feel like it's good for Richie and I to just be talking and opening up. And if there's anyone else who wants to talk, I mean, they're welcome to even just talk and, you know, let's sit down, let's talk, let's open
But make sense.
forums.
We just don't talk.
We just don't talk. Now you're chasing people.
We hope to make sense.
Yeah, we do hope that.
We want to identify with sense makers.
Not nonsense.
Yeah, so that's the one part, you know, where you start to create mentorship relationships.
Yes, yeah.
But then the extreme cases, we actually need professional help, yeah, and it's available, yeah. Therapy is good. Therapy works. Therapy works. So there's some people who are too steeped into these things that even just you talking to them doesn't quite get them out of whatever trauma, because a lot of these things are based on some trauma that happened as we were growing up. So there's a place for professional help. There's a place for therapy. And for me, I actually advocate it a lot. If you can find some professional help, please take the chance. Yeah. Just get help.
Do you know places that are easy to talk, that people can... Okay, let's look at it this way. There are places that are even as... what's it called? Even if you're saying there's help, get into that place already. Therapy session is like 4,000 bob. There's some people who can't afford that 4,000 bob. Like, it's important for that to happen so that people can look up, hey, guys, if you want to talk to any of us, are you okay? If someone wants to talk to you, okay?
Sure.
If there's anyone who wants to talk to Evelyn,
Evelyn,
Correct. Hello, may I speak to Evelyn?
Wanawadanganya, ni sawa.
You'll be
More
corrected the
caring.
whole time.
She's
Feel
more
free.
caring than us.
Yeah, hawezi kuja uite Richie, Richard, alafu than in.
Okay.
No, but Richie, but can people also talk to you?
No. I don't want to be talked to because sometimes I don't know how to help you. Anyway, I'm joking. Yeah, let's help one another.
I mean,
because at the end of the day, that's
yeah.
what we're here for.
Yeah.
Let's help one another where we can.
We're here. If you want to talk, you can put our email. Because numbers itakuwa tricky. We'll put
social
our,
media handles.
Social
You
media.
can
We'll
reach
put
out,
our social
especially
media handles. Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, or
Yeah.
DM us on Instagram.
DM us on Instagram if you want to talk. I mean, we're open and feel free. Do not feel like you're being left out, right? Let it also just be. It's an open session. Let people talk.
Yeah, there's help out here.
But you're doing a good job. I know your boys are good people and are good men, and you're doing a good job. Do not feel like you're not doing a good job.
Great.
They have not pierced their ears yet, but
Are you saying my parents have not done a good job?
Richard?
Because they have.
You had to wait to
I'm
get out of
standing
their
in
house.
the gap for my parents. Their names shall not be slandered.
Good job.
In my
They have
presence.
done a good
They've
job.
done
They have
an
done
amazing job.
And
We
you
know
both
them.
know that.
We know
Yes,
them.
you know that. You would not be here.
Done an amazing
You'd not be
job.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing what
Yeah,
I'm doing.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
let small piercings.
Yeah, confuse you. Small ones. Yeah, I just wanted to mention something else about upbringing, especially for boys in single mom homes.
Yeah.
Especially involving them in things. It's necessary to train them. Why do I say this? When children are left unattended for long periods of time, that's when they start to find themselves outside of who they are supposed to be. Yeah? And yet, society places lots of demands on these single parent homes.
Yes.
Yeah? I mean, you still have to bring in the full check.
Right. Everything.
You still have to bring in the full loaf.
Yeah. You can't say
You're not bringing
because
up.
you're single.
Yeah. So of course you tend to do more. So that takes these parents away more. Yeah. So parents have to be deliberate in being available for their children. Okay. So just set your programs to include the children, because when they're included, then they feel that what we call it, the support. Yeah. When they're included, they feel the support. Yeah. So when something comes up, then you're able to share it as it comes, not to wait 2 days later and then it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. Then you don't even want to talk about it. You don't just forget about it. I mean, really. Yeah.
You don't get it. Forget about it.
Yeah. So that making deliberate efforts to involve them. Right. Yeah, to involve them.
So, okay, there's a two-pronged approach, I think. When you ask them and they tell you they haven't tried whatever, what happens when you ask them something and they say they have tried? What happens then?
You find out if it is continuing. The trying could have been, yes, we tried, we liked it, and this is our lifestyle.
So
Exactly.
like what happens then?
So now you have to identify, So if it's something negative, and in this case it's always the negative things that you're asking about anyway. You start to help them through it, to instruct them on why you think it's dangerous, or why you know it is dangerous, offer information for them to see and to know, and to actually believe, because what they believe up there is very different from the reality on the ground. So for them to start to believe the reality on the ground, that actually this is not good for me, especially if there's somewhere I'm trying to go, and the things that I'm involving myself in that will impede, my progress. Yeah. And so just share that information, make it very deliberate, and continue to be interactive and to watch. Because as a parent who is involved, the signs can never be lost on you. Can never be lost on you. They will never be lost on you. Utajua hapa. Yeah, so you'll be able to actually interact, mold, correct. Yeah, it's about even scripture corrects us, it rebukes us. Yes. But it also trains us in righteousness. Yeah. So in the same way, you will rebuke, but you'll also train.
Yeah, you'll also train.
You'll also train.
That's the type of training many of us got.
Maybe the kind of vibocos I got, like I'm telling you, there's a time I used to steal money. I used to see money, I used to bounce with it.
I think we should dedicate an episode towards Joni's escapades.
tell you,
denying
it's
a
a
father.
joke.
I'm Ubaba.
There's a time-
That's why you're here.
There's a time I used to identify
Yeah.
with, like I used to, in Primo, for me to get friends, I needed money. And I realized that because the kind of people who had money had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, anyone who has money, those are the people you're hanging out with. Those. And it so happened that when I had money at some point, that's when now I used to get friends. At that time, I didn't see it that way. At that time, I was like, when I have money, we're balling. When I don't have money, we
The
don't
whole
ball.
table eats. And other,
exactly.
other lies we tell ourselves.
Kilamtu, we are eating together. Now, it was so messed up to the sense that for me to get that money, because I didn't have an income.
Yeah.
For me to get that money, I had to steal.
Kleptomaniac.
Kleptomaniac, a good one. It was bad to the extent that there's a time I stole 500 bob, and those days 500 bob.
That was a lot of money. Yeah.
5K.
Like,
a lot.
so my dad came with a bundle. And pass.
Yes.
So it was like that. The thing that was stupid, John did not understand that my dad was an accountant. No, my dad is an accountant. Kwa hivyo anaweza fanya hivi.
And he gets his
Sikujua
counts.
anaweza nini. Nilisikia tu asubuhi. My money is missing. I was like,
Usingizi inaisha.
That's the morning I go and ask for bus fare. Then they ask me, unauliza bus fare kwani unaenda wapi? Tangu lini ukaulizia bus fare? Unajipeleka wapi? That was one of the episodes. But I used to steal tuition money. Mimi nimepatiwa tuition niende kulipa.
Guys, watch your pockets, eh? This is an active crime scene.
Mimi badala ya kwenda kulipa teacher, mimi nimeenda kubaya wase fries. Niko hapa, niko bola.
Sasa chips ni kitu ya kunyima mtu.
Patiwa, iko nini? Unataka chipo? Leo tunaenda kubaya. Wewe unataka chipo, so we know
get
go to the
fries,
dining.
you get
You get
fries.
fries. You get a fry. You all get fries. Check under your seats. You get a So, like, that's what I used to the extent, I'm sorry, our English teacher was a
Tuition teacher, yeah.
I'm really sorry that I stole that money. It was supposed to come to you. And now mom and dad, you're finding out about this right now.
So they didn't know all this time?
All this time they knew I was going to school for tuition. Nothing. Pesa nilikuwa na babe, I am sorry. Please, yeah. So, yeah, now you know. Mama.
Azid. You guys have given me so much confidence in how unproblematic I have been as a child.
But yes, like that's what I used to identify as. Like for me, it was having money was a thing. Like and again, it looks like back then I also understood that zoea pesa mpaka ikutambue, unajua. Like you get money. Like I never used to leave even coins. But let me tell you, there's a time my mom was tired. Akasema leo ndo siku ya mwisho utaiba. I thought it was a joke. Tulifukuzana kwa living room. Ameshikilia paper, newspapers. Ameasha moto. Anakuja kunichoma.
Choma mwizi.
Anakam kunichoma masikio kwa zaziski. My guy. First of all, nilikuwa nishachapwa. Now it was now burning because I'm done. Like we are done. Your ears are not listening. It's not even about cutting them off. We are going to burn them. Burn them. My friend, tulifukuzana hivi kwa living room. Mpaka hiyo siku, like after that day, I used to see money. I used to take it back to where it used to be.
If the money you have
It does not
solve the problems you have,
eat that money.
but now, just make sure your ears are prepared.
But yeah, but I'm saved now. I'm a changed man.
We don't know. We cannot be sure.
Nimekuibia.
We don't know. How would I know you've stolen? That's how successful you've been. Parents are finding out now. As if... Oh, we need a full episode.
For all those years.
We need a full episode. Joni, just expose yourself, baby.
If I was to
do an
expose
expose.
myself, it would have
a series.
It's a documentary series, not even
Netflix.
a documentary. For a bus, it will be a Netflix limited series. These are 5 episodes. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of identity, again, I don't know how you've helped your sons. I don't know what they identify as, or so do you expect them to identify?
I thought they, them, that I
they,
identify
them,
as.
that identify
You know
as
the
him.
running joke that if the country enlists men to fight in a war, the simplest thing for a man to do is now start identifying as non-binary.
I'm there. I'm there.
I'm not fighting in this war.
No.
Ukraine, Russia, no.
Netty.
I identify as a couch.
I'm out. Don't count me. Me niko inside ingine. I'm in the kitchen. I don't know how have you helped them identify themselves as, or are they still on that path of trying to identify?
One thing I have tried, and I think it's working or has worked, is to continually affirm them. Yeah, affirm them for who they are. Okay. This is who you are. You are a man. I'm proud of you. Whatever you do and you do not do it right, it's okay. There's room for improvement. Yeah. There's always a second chance. You can redeem yourself. So I think that has helped them in having self-confidence. Yeah. And I think that's very important in these matters of identity. Yeah. Having the self-confidence, to know that I am okay. Yeah? And even when I'm not okay, I'm still okay. Yeah. Because I can make it better. Right. On the next round, or I can make a better choice.
That is actually very... I really love that. Yeah, I really love that. The affirmation aspect, and for me, affirmation is a very big deal as well. Right. So I really love that you've said that.
So men do like being affirmed. Like I think there's that stereotype that men have to be very macho and don't like men like being told.
You're doing well.
Yeah, you're doing well. Like I like what you're doing. I see where you're going. Yeah. Congratulations. Those things. Just call the guy up even now. Just call them and tell them, my guy, I see what you're doing. You're doing very well. Keep doing what you're doing. Wacha na mambo ya maze leo unakaje. Nakavufala.
Strong Buddha.
Strong Buddha. Part 2. Tonane part 2. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I don't think we can finish this thing about identity. I think we'll continue.
It's a continuous conversation. Yeah.
It is a continuous conversation. We'll have to continue some other time. Thank you very much, Evelyn, for coming through. You've been very helpful in us understanding the male species a little bit better. Even us ourselves, we don't understand ourselves sometimes. So can you say you understood the male species?
We help one another.
Okay.
To understand each other.
Politically correct.
Yeah, right. But yeah, thank you very much.
You don't want to say you have problems. Of not being able to know who you are. But we are helping each other.
Align yourself with the right people. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment,
share. And
always
give us your views.
Please.
Always give us
your views. It is important.
The experiences. If you'd like to join us as well in the conversation, please hit us up.
Karibu. Yeah. Karibu. We're free, as you can see. There's a chair. It might not look as cool as ours, but it's very cool and very comfortable. I can tell you that for sure. Black don't crack. Black don't crack. Thank you again to Authentic Kurtz. We're here to stay and we are just waiting for our promo codes. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you to Ishmael, who has also sorted us out today. Thank you very much. Peter Courier for coming through. Thank you very much. Andrew Ogango for coming through. Thank you very much. Jimmy for coming through as well. And thank you, S, for giving me coffee with 35 sugars. That has really been helpful. So yeah, peace, protect your life, protect your network, and see you on the next one. Peace. Drop down.